Hello, friends. Welcome to News Daily. My name is Delali Frank, and this channel is Del Soccer, where I serve you with all the major trending news in the last few hours. In today's edition, we're going to talk about some few things. We talk about Mohamed Kudus deal is facing some setback. We're going to talk about it. We're also going to talk about Enerst Nuamah, who has won an award in Denmark. And we are also going to talk about Kotoko, who have officially unveiled their head coach. The coach has talked about his expectations and the things he has been asked to do. If it's your first time here, please hit the subscription button and let's build this community together. But without wasting much time, let's get straight into today's news. Let's start with Mohamed Kudus. If you follow this channel, you know that we talked about Brighton having an agreement in principle with Ayaz for the transfer of Mohamed Kudus. And yesterday, Brighton's head coach, De Zerbi, also in an interview, spoke about Mohamed Kudus. In the recent updates is that Ayaz has given Mohamed Kudus a 48 hours ultimatum. They've basically given him an ultimatum to have an agreement with Brighton and Hove Albion. If not, he will not be transferred. And that is a problem. So Ayaz has given Mohamed Kudus an ultimatum of 48 hours, which means that the player should come in terms with Brighton and Hove Albion or face a prospect of staying put in Ayaz. We all know that Brighton have been chasing Kudus. I'm sure you heard the report that they've signed an agreement with Brighton, which will worth over 80 million euros. 40 million euros, which is going to be their record signing. But the problem here is that it looks as if Brighton and Kudus have not had an official agreement yet. You know what I mean? So what it means is that, in transfer, there's club-to-club agreement before player-to-player agreement. The player-to-club agreement is the most important thing because the player is the one going to do the work. If he says he will not play, there's nothing you can do to that player. But if he wants to move, it's easier that way. So Brighton have first of all reached an agreement with Ayaz, but now left with an agreement with Mohamed Kudus. And I'm picking reports that the deal is not really the deal that Brighton are giving to Kudus is not really, like in favor of him, especially when it comes to release clause and all those things. Brighton, most of the times when they signed top level players, they are very stubborn in allowing them to move on. Caicedo is a classic example. They overprice you and make sure that teams will struggle to buy you. You know what I mean? Caicedo, Chelsea have chased him, Arsenal have chased him. Basically, they didn't let the boy move. And until today, Chelsea have still not been able to buy him. So I understand that Kudus' team is trying to make sure that there's a release clause. If there's a release clause in a player's agreement, anything that wants to buy the player can trigger it. So if Kudus, although they are buying Kudus for 40 million euros, if there's a release clause of, let's say, 60 million or 80 million euros or 80 million pounds, if Chelsea wants to buy Kudus or Arsenal or United one day wants to buy Kudus, all they have to do is to trigger that clause. But this ultimatum basically means that in the next 48 hours, Kudus, we are going to know what will happen between Kudus and Brighton and then Ayaz. Is Kudus going to stay or not? We are going to know in the next. I think what I like about Kudus is he's taking his time to make a decision because Chelsea have also showed interest in him, and I understand that Chelsea's deal looks a bit more better in terms of the player than that of Brighton. Obviously, Chelsea have a better salary structure than maybe Brighton because they have better money. But as I've always asked, what do you think? Should Kudus forget Brighton, stay in Ayaz and play? Because I was asking this as well, that do you feel Kudus moving to Ayaz, moving to Brighton is a downgrade or like it's really okay? Let me also know what you think in the comment section. We have talked about Kudus, let's talk about another Ghanaian who is Enerst Nuamah. I think he has dominated this platform for a while now. First of all, he got nominated. Yesterday I brought you he's scoring a free kick, a brilliant free kick. And I also told you that he has been nominated for the player of the month in July in the Danish League. Unfortunately, the Ghanaian has won. The Black Stars forward has been named the player of the month for July in the Danish Super League after a blistering start to the 2023-2024 season. The attacker has been in a stunning fashion for FC Northern since the start of the season and was rewarded for his efforts ahead of the third game of the season against Brøndby. Nuamah started the season with a hat-trick against Viborg in the first game of the campaign and also went ahead to produce an assist and score a brilliant free kick, basically makes him player of the month. This young man is exceptional, is brilliant, plays some exciting football that everybody basically loves him. I think Kudus has been exceptional, but Enerst Nuamah is also making some great headlines. He's just 19 years old. The 19 years old completed a hat-trick. That's his first hat-trick in his career. The young man basically is an improvement of what we saw last season. And he's getting closer to being part of the players that will go to the next African Cup of Nations. If he continues like this, obviously, he's basically going to go for the African Cup of Nations, and I am not basically going to be surprised. So let's come home and talk about something that. So today, Kumasi Asante Kotoko officially announced the head coach, Prosper Natilgum, who was a former head coach of the Black Galaxies, basically a former assistant coach and also a former coach of the team. The head coach of the Porcupine Warriors was appointed in 2021, ending the gaffer's tenure as a technician for Wafa in the Ghana Premier League. So he was with Wafa, came to Kotoko in his debut season. He won the league for Kumasi Asante Kotoko. But after that season, bizarrely or surprisingly, the man resigned from his role and left without better explanation. Basically, he left his role without proper explanation. And then the board was dissolved, which means the management was dissolved. And then Utumfo formed an interim management, which consists of 4 people. Dasuberi, a chief, Prosper Ogum, and then former head coach of the Black Stars, Kwesi Appiah. So he has been officially unveiled, and he said some few things. So I'm going to read some few quotes that he said to you. So he talked about the expectations, what the fans should expect from them, especially Kwesi Appiah talked about the reason why they are appointing the coach and what they're going to do as they move on. He said, I believe that Kotoko is a big team and everyone expects us to win. But the intention of the king, Otumfuo, is to give the coach free hands and build a team. The ambition is not for immediate success, but in 3 years. We pledge for your support. So basically means that it's a sign that either they are going to be there for 3 years or the head coach is going to be there for 3 years. And the first start, and I think the coach also talked about it, that the first start is for them to have a good team that can compete, and then they will move on to form a squad that can go outside Ghana and then excel. So Ogum also talked about something. He said, every organization that wants to succeed does so on one condition, and that's unity. I want everybody to come on board and let's pick the lessons and screen which one to repeat and which one to let go. And I'm convinced that we can catch up with the big teams. Like basically we can catch up with Ali and the likes. He said, let's forgive and forget. What does that mean? Anyway, so Kotoko have a new coach now. He said he has appointed an assistant. I'm sure his former assistant, the one that went to Haas, he has appointed him again. Currently, they are doing recruitment. We're going to follow that. But today's edition, we talked about Kudus, whether Kudus is going to stay or he'll go. Talk about Enerst Nuamah and other few things. My name is Delali Frank. Until we meet again, bye-bye for now.